Hey guys, it's Adam Lowell coming back to you from knuckletfup.com. That's knuckletfup.com. I hope to redesign that website. I know it's not the most prettiest website out there, but we'll get you to all of my links, and that's what's important. If you want to talk about the best combat sports in the world, one, Muay Thai, dirty boxing, bare knuckle boxing, just go to that website and you can follow me at all my socials, because that's all I talk about at those socials. I mean, especially Facebook. Follow me on my Facebook. I talk about combat sports all the time and nothing else. No politics, no pictures of my kid or my dogs. It's all about combat sports, striking combat sports. And that's what we're here to talk about right now. Of course, we're talking about One Championship Friday Fights number 125. Happened on September 19th, 2025. I love this show. They're almost all Muay Thai fights. You get an MMA fight here, a kickboxing fight here. I might start watching the kickboxing, I'm not sure. But it's just, everything pales in comparison to Muay Thai on the one shows. Now, I'm not saying the other stuff is bad. Maybe you're really into MMA. Maybe you're the biggest kickboxing fan in the world. Awesome, I don't begrudge that. But to me, every time I watch any other style of fighting, except bare knuckle is something in a different league, in my opinion. Gloved fighting. There's no gloved fighting in the world like Muay Thai. Not to me. I don't even begin to grasp how anything's in the same league where they wear gloves. I like dirty boxing. Dirty Boxing Championship, the company. I still don't think it holds a candle completely to Muay Thai. Not really. But I'm a big fan of it, and I'm putting it over. But again, back to the show, Friday Fights from September 19, 2025. It started with Ryan Miki in the red corner taking on Muga in the blue corner. The first round was good. Nothing exciting happened in the first round. It wasn't boring. Sometimes I have a hard time classifying what it is that I saw. Like, the first round of this fight was good. I enjoyed it. But there wasn't a bunch of flurries. There wasn't a bunch of trading back and forth. There wasn't a bunch of anything that would get you like, oh my God, this fight might end. You know what I mean? It was a little bit more measuring, a little bit more finding the pace, if you will. Miki was more active and controlling in round one. I would say Miki won round one. That's not how these fights work, though. It's judged on the whole of the fight, not who won each round. At least I'm pretty sure that's how they do it here in one. I watched several companies, so forgive me if I don't have everything memorized at the top of my head. But in the round two, Muga knocks Miki down hard. But Miki gets back up. I mean, it's always a measure, if a guy gets right back up, but still it's a knockdown. You've lost the round. You're down, 10-8 probably if you get knocked down. So you've got to come back, even though they don't judge it round by round by round, but as a whole fight. A knockdown between a very close fight is a great big deal. Now, Muga then took control of the fight. Even though Miki did fight back and did a tremendous job of fighting back, he was on his heels most of round two. Miki took Muga down. Now, when I say took him down, I don't mean knockdowns. This dude tackled. Miki tackled Muga 5 or 6 times in this fight. I can't believe a warning didn't come out for that, but it never did. And it just felt to me like Miki was using it as a way to avoid more punishment. That's how it felt for me. Muga took control of the fight in round 2. He kept it in round 3. Knocking Miki down again. Miki did manage to stay upright until the final bell, but Muga was in control of this fight the whole way through. It wasn't a blowout. It wasn't like a squash. It wasn't like, oh my God, this wasn't even close. But Muga wins by unanimous decision, and really there was no surprise there based on what I was seeing. I enjoyed the fight. It was hotly contested, but there was no doubt who won it, and that was Muga, and he did, like I said, by unanimous decision. Good way to open the show, in my opinion. Next up, we had the ladies, and it was Lu Yur in the red corner. Her nickname is the Dragon Girl. That's cool. I like a cool nickname. Didn't help her here, but she was taking on Nafise Delicart. Nafise Delicart, and she was in the blue corner, of course. Delicart was nonstop. Delicart came out just overwhelmed the Dragon Girl, Lu Yur, if you will. I mean, this was pretty much lopsided. Now, Lu Yur has a hell of a jaw, hell of a chin, because she stayed up the whole entire time. But this was nonstop. These two were in each other's face the entire fight, and I love that. Now, the theme of this show seemed to be nobody's going down, or very few people. There were some fighters here that took a lot of abuse, like Liu Yer did here. She took a lot of abuse, and from what I understand, she is a great fighter. But here, Delicurt came out and just took control, literally. Sometimes people say, "Oh, this fighter constantly pressed forward," right? And they did a lot, but not constantly. No, no, no. Delicurt pressed forward here constantly, and I mean that in every sense of the word. She threw herself on Yer like a blanket. Now, not like the last fight where she's taking her down to the ground constantly, but she was just draped over her, just non-stop punishment. Yer got shots in, but this wasn't even close, and Delicurt wins by unanimous decision because Yer has a hell of a chin, and she did not drop the entire time. But Delicurt wins by unanimous decision to go to 19-0. Now, there are people with even bigger records than that, but that's a pretty impressive record. Excited to see Delicurt going forward. I would like to see the Dragon Girl Liu Yer come back. Of course I would. I mean, this was atom weight, and for some reason, Delicurt seemed to just be much bigger than Yer. She was in the weight limit, so I guess not. But she certainly looked like it and showed it and won unanimously. And this one was obvious the whole way through. I expected it to be a close fight. I did. It was not. The next fight on this show was Gayacet taking on Damir Osmanov. Now, Osmanov controlled the first half of the fight, but Gayacet came back in the last minute. I mean, it looked like this might be, Osmanov taking this guy out. That's what it looked like. Osmanov controlled it. Gayacet was on his heels. But with 1 minute left to go in the round, it's like something snapped in Gayacet, and he came back hard. Hard shots, hard strikes, hard knees. Osmanov looked ready to fall. He looked like he was going to drop before the bell rang, but the bell rang and he was still on his feet, but he was wobbly. So again, Osmanov came out like a man on fire, and Gayacet looked in trouble. And then the last minute, the roles completely reversed. That's always interesting, and that's all this striking combat sports, right? Anything can happen in bare knuckle boxing, in Muay Thai, in dirty boxing. Anything can happen at any time, and you can see what I'm talking about in the first round of this fight, and it was impressive. It really was. A great first round. In the second round, Gayacet remained confident. See, he gained a lot of confidence in that last round, and he walked forward. But he paid for it. You see, and I mentioned this before, I'm no expert, but when you walk forward, when you do the zombie walk, right, no matter what you're being pelted with, you keep coming. Okay, and that was Gayacet here. But because he did that, he kept getting, picked off a little bit. He was getting his shots in too, but Osmanov sort of started the counterfight, and it worked to his advantage. Gayacet, again, like I said, he gained a lot of confidence in the end of that round, but I think he paid for it a little bit. Osmanov was landing hard, straight rights, and one of them put Gayacet to sleep. Gayacet, it was kind of sad to see and kind of exciting at the same time. Gayacet coming in, I got this confidence, I'm going to take you out, kid, and he gets taken out. He gained a little bit too, he turned it up a little bit too much at the end of that first round, gained a little bit too much confidence, and he suffered for it. And the winner, Damir Osmanov. And it was a very exciting fight. Really liked this one a lot. It was, like I said, the tables turned. It was a lot of fun in this fight. Next up, and again, we're talking about Friday Fights, number 125 from One Championship on September 19, 2025. And this one saw Kong Chai taking on Walter Gonçalves. Decent first round. Okay, but nothing spectacular. You see that once in a while. You got 3 rounds here, and a lot of the times the guys will do a little bit more measuring, a little bit trying to find their distance and their pace in the first round, and that's what we saw here. Boring? I won't go so far as to say it's boring if you understand the science and the methodology behind boxing or Muay Thai. That almost has to happen. If you go in there flaring around like crazy, you could get a quick win, or you could get knocked out and the fight would be over. So they really were finding their pace here, finding their distance if you do. The second round was much more active and more fun to watch. Gonçalves was the most active, and he had the hardest shots of round 2. He had a huge front kick to Gong Chai's chin. It was pretty, I can't do a teep to save my life, but it was a big teep, lifted up, and you saw it hit Gonçalves' chin. It just knocked him back. It was pretty cool looking kick. It didn't knock him out, didn't even knock him down, but Gong Chai definitely felt that one for sure. Both men fought hard in round 3, and I would say Gong Chai had his best round here. But I'd also say Gonçalves did a little better. And the judges see it completely different than I did. That's why I hated going to the judges. I didn't have a rooting interest in this fight. I like watching both men, but the judges gave the unanimous decision to Gong Chai. Again, nothing against judges. I don't want to be one of those guys on these shows that just rip the judges and stuff and all unfair. I'm not going to go that route. But I don't know how they saw it that way, especially unanimously. If they would have given it to Gong Chai by split decision, I'd have still disagreed, but I'd have been like, well, I guess they saw something I didn't. I don't know. But unanimous, neither one of these guys, in my opinion, won this fight unanimously, but they gave it to Gong Chai. Guys, that's why you got to finish. That's why you got to win. You got to knock guys down and out. You leave it to the judges, and you never know what's going to happen. Next fight on this show was Ikusan in the red corner taking on Kampong Tong in the blue corner. Both men were fighting hard with solid shots immediately. There was no measuring here. There was no finding the distance. They came out and were throwing hard shots. Kampong Tong had more solid shots with his boxing skills, busting the nose of Ikusan. Okay, so Ikusan's nose is it's not pouring, but it's coming out pretty steadily. He got cracked in the nose pretty hard. These two are staying close and banging the hell out of each other the whole entire time. Ikusan utilized the clinch very well, using knees, and trips. He didn't throw him around like the fighter I complained about earlier, didn't throw him all over the ring, but he swept him a couple times. Sort of gives him a break, sort of hurts a little bit, and shows that he's not dominating, but in control at that time. But Kampong Tong looked very exhausted at this point. I don't know what it was, but he was definitely tired. But they keep fighting no matter what. This was a hell of a fight and an incredible pace. If you're the kind of guy like me who likes the constant, not necessarily brawling, but they're just not going to stop. They're both trying to win. They're both trying to not send it to the judges. They're trying not to. This is the kind of fight you want to see. Neither guy would go down, though. So it goes to the judges. I have no idea which way they're going to go here. I'm sitting here thinking, I love the fight. Don't get me wrong. But I couldn't even guess who won. Okay? The winner by split decision here was Ikusan. This was, I'm not ready to call this a fight of the night, but it was up there. It went to the judges. I'm not a big fan of that. But it went to the judges through no fault of these two gentlemen. No fault of Ikusan at all. And, of course, no fault of Kampong Tong either. Because they both pressed, and did their best to knock each other out and take each other out. It just didn't happen. Both guys are tough as hell. Ikusan wins by split decision, which is the right decision, in my opinion. No one won that unanimously. Okay, the next fight on this show was Anon versus Gany Deleu, a Frenchman, if you will. These Frenchmen here on this company are proving that the stereotype of Frenchman isn't always the truth, apparently. Deleu controlled round one, getting a knockdown on Anon. I mean, knockdown first round, great way to start for anybody. And he kept him at bay with frequent high front teeps. Again, just where a teep is a front kick. They lift and just kick forward. Just bam. The way you might think of a mule kicking backwards, a teep is a guy kicking forward. It's a simple move, but effective if you really know how to use them. And Deleu definitely knew how to use them here. He threw frequent hard punches as well. In the second round, went the same way. I think Deleu was pretty much in control here most of this fight, and very interesting for sure. In the third round, Anon found his pace and took over. Yeah, that's right. So this is the second fight on this show where it looked like somebody was cruising to victory, and all of a sudden tables turn. All right, tables turn. He found his pace, did Deleu throughout the round, getting Deleu on the ropes and finishing the fight with a body blow. It took Ledoux down. I think it could have been a liver shot, but man, body blows are underrated. We all love headhunting, right? We fans, we love seeing guys go in there and just try to smash each other's skull in. That's just entertaining. That's just fun. But a good solid body blow, especially if you can get around the liver, it's over. Those of you who remember Bas Rutten back in the old UFC, back when it was good and entertaining, like I don't believe it is anymore, that's what I think happened here. Anon came storming back after losing 2 rounds in a row, in my opinion, and took Deleu out with a big body shot. Very interesting, and another one that was a lot of fun to watch. Next up on this show was Krepet taking on Merdat Khanzadeh. Merdat Khanzadeh. Decent first round, strong shots from Krepet, but then Khanzadeh fought back with some power of his own, almost knocking Krepet down. Krepet stumbled, but stayed on his feet. Both men throwing and landing bombs. I mean, I've told you how the last fight, right? They were fighting. So were these guys. But they were swinging like overhands and uppercuts, like the big bomb shots on each other. Just pretty much nonstop of all of round two. Both guys must be incredibly conditioned to be able to do something like that. Who will drop? That's the question I'm asking myself as I'm watching this. Both guys are marching forward. Both guys are, I mean, this is one of the best fights of the night for sure. As the bell rang at the end of round two, Krepet knocked Khanzadeh down for an 8 count. Right at the end of the round. There's no being saved by the bells here. So he got an 8 count. Managed to get into his corner after that and prepare for round 3. Each man knocked the other one down in round 3. That's what a good fight this was. They came out and took turns knocking each other down. Pretty awesome. Watching these two guys throwing the hooks, the straights, the punches, the overhands to the head, the body, the face was amazing. It's one of my favorite fights of the night. Another great fight, though, is going to the judges. It takes nothing away from the fighters. That's not what I'm saying here. Please don't misunderstand. This is one of my favorite fights of the night. Is it the fight of the night? It's up there. It's up there. This and the last fight were two amazing fights. But going to the judges like this fight does just takes a smidgen off of the enjoyment for me. I enjoy both these fighters. It's hard for me to explain what I'm saying here. I'm not insulting the fighters here. They both killed themselves. Not literally, but they both put it all on the line for 3 rounds. But both of them are so damn tough that they didn't go down. So it's going to go to the judges, and it's another split decision, as it should be. Krepet is the winner in a split decision of this amazing battle. Guys, stop letting it go to the judges. Gain some power. Again, I sound like I'm insulting the fighters, and that's not what I'm trying to do. But I know they want to finish. And this show wasn't full of finishes. And did it make it? I'm not done yet, but did it make the show bad? No. Did it make it slightly less entertaining? No, slightly. Next, we had Pentim Munkorn taking on Pet Nia. Pretty even, first round. But Pentim Munkorn did advance much more. It was even, but the judges, and I myself, and probably you, like watching guys go forward. Now, I've talked before about how you can get your ass knocked out doing that. But if you don't, if you can stay upright and keep pressing, that is enjoyable. And Pentim Munkorn did exactly that. But Pantea is wanting to counter as this happens, and he does so very well. So if you're marching forward and you're swinging and you're getting your shots, but your opponent is sort of evading some and countering when you're open, because when you press for shots, you're open. And that leaves you susceptible to punches from your opponent, and that's what happened here. Pantea didn't go forward. He was the guy on his heels, but he got counter shots that were excellent. Pentim Munkorn controlled the 3rd round, and I feel should win this fight. But you know, I've been wrong many times. These judges don't see it like me. Pantea wanted to counter and did so pretty well into the 3rd round, where Pentim Munkorn dominated. Pentim Munkorn dominated the 3rd round, and this time the judges agreed, giving the unanimous decision to Pentim Munkorn. And a very exciting fight once again that also went to the judges. Unfortunate. Now, I think the judges got it right here, but to me, when that happens, it is still unfortunate. Next fight on Friday Fights number 125 was Sakri taking on Logan Chan. Sakri taking on Logan Chan. Chan was the aggressor all round 1, and Sakri seemed to be stalking him, trying to figure out Chan's game. Chan's game was to come out and knock somebody out. That was his game. And clearly Sakri was on the defensive, but trying to use his intelligence. The commentators mentioned that Chan wants to keep moving forward, wants to keep punching, wants to keep kicking, because if you let Sakri use time to figure you out, he will figure you out and probably beat you. In the 2nd round, Chan kept being aggressive, and Sakri kept counterfighting. Chan backed Sakri up against the ropes, though, several times. While Sakri's trying to counter and trying to figure this guy out, Chan's just, okay, he came forward, but but he came forward in a very statistical way. Like, he got him against the ropes, and that's not a good place to be. And here, Chan landed a huge body shot to the liver. This one was definitely to the liver. That lower hook towards the back, not on the back, it's right in your lower side, towards your back, around your belt line, a little below your belt line, a little above, I think, a little above your belt line. And that was it. Sakri went down. You get hit hard in the liver, you aren't going to keep going. Nobody. No matter who you are, no matter how tough you are, your liver takes a strong blow. You're done. Winner by knockout in the second round here is the Dragon. Cool nickname. Logan Chan. He has a big dragon tattooed across his chest. This guy seems badass. He seems legit. One gave this fight of the night. I can go with that. It was very good. It was a massive, cool knockout with a body shot. We had another one of those earlier. We had 2 fights that went to the judges that were tremendous. Hard to call a fight of the night here, but I could go along with one on this one because the Dragon came out and excited the crowd and did an amazing job. And we are at the main event of Friday Fights 1. Friday Fights, September 19, 2025. And this one saw Samapet taking on Elbrus Osmanov in the blue corner. Both men throwing bombs, but not landing much. They came out, but both were very good at evading, is what I'm saying, right? They were both throwing bombs, the hooks and straights and overhands, but both guys, and kicks, both guys were good at evading. Each of them landed some shots, but none of them overly serious. None of them hurt the other, really. But both men are taunting each other. Come on, bring it on. Get in my face. Come on, you didn't hurt me. At one point, one of the fighters, can't remember which one it was doing jazz hands. He's like, ugh. You have to see what I'm talking about. This was a good fight. Wild swings for both men. Plenty of action in round 1. More of the same in round 2 with Samapet getting busted open on the side of his face. Like, he had a big cut on the side of his face. I'm surprised he didn't stop the fight and look at it. I guess it wasn't that bad. It looked bad on my monitor screen, of course. Osmanov is unbothered by the taunts, but also wants to end the fight. Samapet gets knocked down near the end of round 2, but is up quickly. So there's a knockdown. That's a big advantage when you're in a pretty even fight and you knock your opponent down. So Samapet spent all fight, every round, trying to land a fight-ending strike. He just did. He didn't gas out, which was impressive, but that's what Samapet was doing. I'm going to throw gigantic shots and try to take this guy down and stand above his fallen body. And I got to give him credit. Of course, that's the name of the game, but maybe you got to be a little bit more strategic here because this never happened. Along the way, he was dropping his guard. As you throw, again, as I mentioned earlier, you throw these big strikes, your guard is down, right? And that opens you up, and he got picked apart by Osmanov. Another fight goes to the judges. Okay, good fight. Was it the fight of the night? Absolutely not. Was it a bad fight? Absolutely not. It was a decent fight, but another one that went to the judges, and the winner by unanimous decision was Elbrus Osmanov. Now, this wasn't controversial at all, but the reason Osmanov won it was that Samapet, like I said, just continually tried to knock him out. And you go, what's wrong with that, Adam? I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm saying that he kind of threw caution to the wind and allowed himself to remain open so much. Now, he stayed on his feet, but he just got picked off by this guy. Just constant big shots and little shots as he tried to take Osmanov out with a fight-ending strike, and it didn't happen. So that's the show. I enjoyed it very much. It wasn't my favorite Friday fight show because I just love when it doesn't go to the judges, and the vast majority of these fights went to the judges, and nobody's fault doesn't make it bad. I just like a good knockout because it just assures who's going to win, and it assures the winner is the winner, not by points or not by judges who I don't feel always get it right. So I'm going to give this show an 8 out of 10. Not bad, just not the greatest. I don't regret watching it. I enjoyed it very much. It just wasn't as good as the past couple Friday fight shows. But still, 8 out of 10, I think that's pretty damn good. And I'll be back to talk more about One Championship Friday fights and their other shows, along with all the other companies I cover. The best combat sports in the world. I'm Adam Lavelle, KnuckleTFUp.com. See you again soon.